Well, hello there, gang. Welcome to the 30. We're just rocking it out. Welcome to the 30, folks. This is episode 149. I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for joining us on this beautiful day. If you're joining us live, we want to thank you. Certainly, you've been with us for 149 episodes as we work our way up to episode 150. And we have some special things that we are going to be talking about shortly. We have some guests that will be coming in, and we also have some giveaways as we celebrate next week. That is May the 29th as we celebrate episode 150. Today, we are going to be focusing on what's holding you back. What's holding you back? That's our primary discussion for today. Go ahead and drop your comments or your questions in the chat, and we will get to those. But what is holding you back from accomplishing your goals and accomplishing what you hope to accomplish as you go forward? So we'll be right back as we talk about this, because we're going to be speaking more today, and then in June we'll be covering some of these items as a topic, what's holding you back. So stick around and we'll be right back. Well, I hope you can join us next week. Next week episode 150, where our focus is going to be celebration. We're going to celebrate 150 episodes, 3 years of broadcasting live, and do you know we haven't missed? I don't think we've missed a week, an episode. I don't think that we've missed that. But speaking about today, we're going to be talking about your goal success. And if you look at it, right, next week is going to be 3 years. We started this broadcast back in April of 2020. So it'll be 3+ years. But we're going to hit 150 in terms of episodes next week. So, you know, when we started this back in 2020, when we look at goals and success, I never expected to go this long, right? We started it and with the hope of, we were in a pandemic. We started it in April, and our hope back then was simply to help viewers at the time. Maybe not you, but some viewers that were back then. And I'm hoping that you were started with us back in 2020 and you're still here. But the goal back in April of 2020 was simply to help others get through the pandemic. That was the goal. That was a simple goal. New York State, where I am at a time, was what we call pause break. So we called the 30 back then pause break 30. So when we came out of the pause break in New York State, we changed it from pause break 30 to the 30. And I never expected. So I call this program an unexpected goal and success, because if you told me back in, I don't know, maybe April, May, June, that we would be doing this 3 years later, I would say you must have lost your mind, because never thought about it, never even considered it. But I want to thank all of you for getting us through, bringing us to at this point. And we're going to celebrate you, as I said, next week. So make sure that you stick around, that you are here next week, because we have some special guests and we also have some giveaways. But let's talk about that, right? Because there could have been a number of things back then that could have held us back. Um, I could have looked at, well, I didn't know how to do the program, and I'll probably show episode one next week. Maybe I'll do that. You'll see how we started, and it's pretty funny. But I could have used the excuse, I don't know how to, didn't know how to live stream. My first time live streaming, certainly didn't know what platform to use, didn't know the background, didn't know what type of microphone. So we could have used all those as excuses in terms of holding us back. Um, but we didn't. So for me, I want to cover this very important topic because there are many things that hold us back. There are many factors that go into us not moving forward in accomplishing what we are called to do and what we should do, right? So we're going to cover some of those things, and I'm going to give you some strategies as to how to overcome or how to get past some of those things that may be holding you back. So drop your comments. I want to hear from you. What are some of the things that factors that are either holding you back or have held you back as you pursue your goals or as you move towards winning? So we've been talking about winning and success the last two episodes, and I want to hear from you. What are some of the things that factors that have held you back are currently holding you back? So let's talk about that. The number one thing, and I know that we all have obstacles. We all have things that um, are factors that we consider in life as we move forward. And the first thing is to really identify what those factors are. If I were to give you a strategy as to how do you get past some of the factors that are holding you back, is number one, identify them, right? Address them. What are the factors? What are some of the things? So go ahead and drop that in the chat. What are some of the factors that have held you back or currently are holding you back from accomplishing your goals and moving on to be successful? So we're going to look at it when it comes to winning and succeeding in life. I think the number one factor when it comes to the question, what's holding you back, is the factor of the fear of failure. None of us, and I've talked about this, none of us want to fail. But many individuals are held back because of that fear of failure. And we look at fear, FEAR, false evidence appearing real. So if you're afraid to fail, obviously, you're going to become paralyzed in terms of not moving forward. So fear is inevitable. We did a session with our coaching group on Tuesday, and the topic was fear is inevitable. And I was sharing with them some of the things that goes into creating fear. I was sharing with them some of my own part of my own story. Then I asked them some of the things of what are some of the things that they've failed at, right? What are some of their failures? And maybe you can write this down. What are some of your failures? And because of one or two of your failures, is that holding you back? Is that part of a factor? Because we fail at something once, are we scared now to step out and say, I'm not going to take the risk because I failed at it? If that's you, I would say embrace it. Because one thing that we know is that fear, anytime that you go forward, anytime that you set a goal, or anytime that you set out to achieve something, if there's one thing that we know is that failure is inevitable. You are going to stumble. You're going to fall, right? But the key here is when those things happen, what are you going to do? How are you going to react? Are you going to shy back or pull back? Are you going to move forward? If you study the greats, if you study anyone that has a level of success, and success is determined by the person, not by someone else. Right? Your success may be quite different from my success. So you determine what your success is. But if you allow failure or the fear of failure to stop you as a factor or a barrier, you'll never achieve anything, right? Because we know that as you travel in your journey towards your goal or journey towards whatever you set out to do, there are going to be you are going to establish or accomplish or go through some barriers, some stumbles along the way. I remember way back in college, I started my entrepreneurial journey, and I had this great idea. Well, I had two of them. I had this great idea, and number one was to be a promoter. So I was a DJ in college, radio, and I says, okay, I'm going to parlay that into becoming a promoter. So I'm going to promote some shows on campus. Exciting idea, great idea, but I didn't think it through. I didn't know that, hey, people may not show up. So I booked this great show. I had the bands lined up, contract signed. But what I didn't count on was people not showing up to make sure that I either break even or make a profit. Well, my first experience with failure in that area, in terms of entrepreneurship, was that I didn't make any money. I lost money. I had to pay the bands, but people didn't show up. That was one of my first experiences when it came to entrepreneurship and failure. Here's another one. Had another brilliant idea, didn't think it through. So my idea was, hey, coming from New York City, students have these trunks, right? Back then, luggage. So they need to get it back home. So I said, okay, as opposed to going to ship it, which was expensive at the time, why don't we, and I recruited some other guys, why don't we rent a U-Haul? Charge the students some money, rent the U-Haul, and then drive the luggage to New York City. Well, I didn't think through it. Here's what happened. I didn't know that with U-Haul, it's not unlimited mileage. You have to pay by the mile. Didn't know that. So we had some free miles, but driving from the college to back to New York, yeah. So we spent a lot of money. We didn't make any money. And on top of that, we also had to take the luggage. We didn't realize that some students lived in apartment complexes with no elevator. So here we are, double parked in New York City, some streets, and we're taking their trunks and luggage up to the apartments with no elevator. Great idea. Fair, right? I was fearless. So so I could have said back then, I'm not going to go into this entrepreneurial thing because I experienced 2 failures. But it's all about taking a risk. Because as failure is inevitable, you learn from your failures. You learn from each failure that you have. So don't allow the fear of failure to stop you from pursuing your goals. So that's the number one factor. So I say, go forward. Get out of your comfort zone. Think about the greats. Think about anyone that have succeeded at anything. They went through. They failed, but it didn't stop them. They kept going. Here's the other thing. Number 2. One of the key factors in stopping us from moving forward, right, is this: wanting to be perfect. Perfection. See, some of us don't want to move forward until everything's lined up. Until everything, your ducks, there's that saying, right? Your ducks have to be in a row. Well, guess what? Your ducks may be in a row, but here comes life and knock those ducks out. So now they're all messed up. And what are you going to do? What's going to happen? So move away from this wanting to be perfect before you can move. There's no such thing as perfection. You will forever be chasing perfection. So don't wait to be perfect. Just go and do it. Just get it done. I could look back and I say, from April of 2020, doing the 30, pause, break, 30. I could said, before we start this show of helping others, I need to be perfect. I need to have the perfect lights, perfect microphone. I need to have the perfect platform. I need not to make any mistakes. The internet must work perfectly. I must speak perfectly. I must have the perfect guests. So if I waited on all those things, where would I be 3 years later? Would I be helping others like yourself? Would I have dynamic guests come on to give you, our viewers and listeners, information that will help you to enhance your personal, professional, and spiritual lives? So don't wait to be perfect. There is no such thing as perfection. Just get it done. Go out. Do whatever you have to do to get it done, legally, morally, and ethically. So don't wait on such things to say, I'm going to make sure that I have everything lined up. So if that's holding you back, the need to be perfect, don't do it. Don't allow that to hold you back from accomplishing your goals. Someone else may be waiting on you. Someone else may be waiting on what you have to say, or the product that you have, or the service that you have, in order for their success. So if you're waiting to be perfect, you're robbing your viewers and listeners and your customers. Another thing is, when we talk about factors of what's holding you back from accomplishing your goals, is a lack of self-belief. So what does that mean? Simply means that you don't believe in your own abilities and your potential. So if you don't believe in your own abilities and your potential, why should someone else believe in them? Why should your customers or your listeners or viewers or your audience, your congregation, why should they believe in what you have to say if you yourself don't believe in your own abilities and potential? We all have self-doubt from time to time when we venture out into doing something new, something different that's never been done. There's always a self-doubt that says, is it going to be successful? Do I have what it takes? So, we talked some time ago, and we did a piece which is called Negative Self-Talk, because in our mind, right? In our mind, we can hear our mind. Well, who do you think that you are? If you're going back to school, if you're going to, whether to get your associates or your bachelor's or your master's or your PhD, that self-doubt comes in. Maybe no one in your family has ever gone to college, or some have gone to college but dropped out. So that self-doubt and a negative self-talk undermine your confidence in yourself. And you don't want to do that. I heard someone says, and here's a great quote: success is built off confidence. I love that. Success is built off confidence. So don't allow self-doubt or lack of self-belief prevent you from seizing opportunities, from going after your goals, from winning in life, from succeeding in life. The strategy to overcoming self-doubt is to have a positive mindset. So you have to change your mindset, change the channel. Change who you're listening to, yourself. A lot of a big reason, a huge reason for us not succeeding in life is us. Lies right here with us, because we don't believe that we could do it. We believe others can do it. We believe in seeing others, and we trust that they can do it, but we don't believe in ourselves. So developing a positive mindset, practicing what we call self-compassion. And here's the key: surrounding yourself with others that are pouring into you, others that are supporting you, that tells you that you can do it. We have confidence in you. Go forward. If others have done it, guess what? You can do it. So go for it. Surround yourself with people that can pour into you, that can tell you. Surround yourself with people that can pray for you. So not only are you praying for yourself, but you have others that are praying for you, that are praying for your success. So don't let the lack of self-belief be holding you back. So I don't know what's holding you back from accomplishing what you hope to accomplish. We talked about two things. Is it the fear of failure? Well, three things. Is it wanting to be perfect at all times? That you want your situation to be perfect? Do you want everything to line up? Do you want the internet not to fail? If not, it throws you off. The perfect cheer, the perfect attire. Is it the lack of self-belief? Or here's another one, and this is the last one I'm going to give you today, and then we'll continue this in coming weeks. Is it that thing called procrastination? Why do it now, Patrick? I can wait to get it done. See, procrastination, and there are two things to it: procrastination and a lack of discipline. So success is about discipline. It's about consistency. So those two things, procrastination and a lack of discipline, those two things can be significant obstacles in your overall success. Those two things could be the difference between you making it and not making it. So I'm telling you, as we wrap up today's show, think about what's holding you back. And I want you to, in the coming weeks, maybe in the coming days, right? I want you to do these things. I'm going to challenge you. And I hope that you execute on these things that I'm giving you. Because I'm here to encourage you. We all are in this together. I want to see you succeed. I want to see you make it. I want to see whatever God wants you to do, that you do it. I don't want you to hold back. Whatever you're called to do, I want to see you doing it. And so let's go forward. Let's not let these things be barriers or factors that will stop you from moving forward. So if it's one of these three things, whatever it is, here's a challenge to you. I want you to really identify these items, whatever it is. I want you to sit down and spend some time and identify what are the factors that are holding you back. And when you identify them, address them, right? Come up with some strategies to move forward. Don't let them control you. You control them. So I hope these three items that we talk about are factors for today has been helpful in identifying and bringing them from deep down to the forefront. So I encourage you to move forward. Don't be held back. We all have things that we battle with. We all have factors that we have to address. But let's do this together. So I encourage you to keep moving forward. Keep accomplishing what you are called to do. And don't allow anyone to stop you from doing it. So my friends, until next week, I am excited about next week. Join me next week, the 25th. Join me live. Make sure you are live. Spread it. Like the broadcast. Let people know that next week is going to be a huge week as we celebrate our 150th episode and 3 years of broadcasting and 3 years of serving you, our viewers and our listeners. So until then, see you next week. May God continue to bless you and bless your family and go forward. See you then.